my gosh.
Time out. Now,
Yes.
Bruce, understand.
Mm-hmm.
You are a grown-ass man.
Mm-hmm.
Your opinion and my opinion don't always match, correct?
That's right.
I can ask my brother Eddie in the comments. I can ask my brother Mike in the comments. Our opinions are not going to always be direct.
Mm-hmm.
Rich Paul is still his own man.
Mm-hmm.
He can say what he wants to say. If this came out of LeBron James's mouth, that was a big three, that doesn't mean Rich Paul has to agree on that.
No,
this is Rich Paul's thought. This is why I read what I said. Multifaceted, ranging from admiration to misunderstanding and even ridicule. His willingness to challenge conventional wisdom, LeBron James just said it, and embrace unconventional ideas. His idea of a big three and LeBron's don't match.
No, what's happening? No, what you're missing. This is what's really you're saying that, and okay, cool. They don't match. All right. What's really happening? What you're missing is Rich Paul out here trying to change the narrative. He's trying to do exactly what you just said. He's trying to rewrite history because he wants to change it. So now we can say, oh, no. We thought LeBron's super teams was loaded in Miami, but he didn't really have a big three. He didn't really have a big three. He knows they had a big three, but he got caught out there lying. This is my point. Remember earlier I told you, I have the proof that he's lying, right?
Who is he? Who's he? LeBron or Rich Paul?
Rich Paul. Lying. Okay. Intent to deceive. Remember when we talked about lying before, right? There's a difference between saying something and not knowing or being unaware, and then there's intent to deceive, right? Intent.
And there's a right of having an opinion.
Purely doing. But you can have an opinion. That's fine. But lying, intentionally lying, and we know.
How is he lying, Bruce?
Because we all know that they had a big three, but what he's trying to do is change the narrative so that now we can take more pressure off of LeBron for having lost because he didn't actually have a big three. That's what's happening there. You don't see it? Yeah, welcome in. Welcome back.
Liquors in five. My bad. I was
See,
going with the beat. My bad. My bad. Go ahead.
Thank you. Mess up the intro, but you know what? That's all right though. You got me. You got Transformer. The Format Podcast is here on a Wednesday night. Transformer hype because he thinks the Lakers going to take out the T-Wolves in 5. I don't see it happening. But what's good, y'all? Welcome. So glad to have you all back. So it's interesting, right? Whenever people like myself, or I'm gonna call some other names of other independent creators, Man Down Sports, shout out Man Down Sports. Sports T, shout out Sports T. Uncommon Sense, shout out Uncommon Sense. Shout out Sports and Fitness Rants, Angry Old Hoops fans. Everybody on YouTube that's out here, giving the other side of it, telling the truth.
Ain't no everybody, but go ahead.
No, I'm talking about the people who are kind of in that camp, who are telling the truth and giving the other side of the coin. What?
Who are what now?
Telling the truth.
In what camp?
Who are in the camp of not LeBron Glazers. That one.
The ones that
tell the truth and not playing to the narrative. But
the anti-LeBronites.
Not
Jordan.
No, anti-BS. No, it's not about that. See, you already started taking this thing the wrong. It's not about Jordan.
Because if you look at all of those channels, they're defending something.
Yeah, they're defending the truth. Anyway, Transformer.
My bad.
So anyway, people like us, because I'm kind of in that camp. People like us, we always get attacked and people say that we're lying and making stuff up. But the funny thing is, and I've proven it time and time again on this channel, it's really the people who are in the LeBron James camp, unfortunately, often lying, trying to rewrite history and trying to create the narrative so that they can push it control what people think and make you think something that's not true. But, everybody has a right to say what they want to say. So anyway, the next thing that we got is, what's the matter with you, man? You all right?
Because you're about to say.
I'm about to say what?
You're literally about to contradict yourself.
How am I about to contradict myself?
Because you literally said everybody has the right to say what they want to say, meaning your opinion.
Yeah.
And you're about to call it a lie, but go ahead.
Well, an opinion can be a lie, and I'm about to show you how. Opinion can absolutely be a lie, but that's cool. So anyway, we saw what's his name? Obviously we saw LeBron on the McAfee show a couple weeks ago, during the height of the LeBron Stephen A. Smith thing, blah, 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 right? And I did a whole show breaking down that interview, and y'all can check that out if you want to. Cool. LeBron has done tons of interviews through his time. He said a lot of things, whether it's, on his platforms or Mind the Game or whatever it was, right? So anyway, Rich Paul, the head of Clutch, he also has done lots of interviews. And, in his interviews, there's always some way that he has to try and either take a shot at past generations, always some way he has to, say something to try and prop up LeBron, excuse me. And a lot of times, if you just listen, you will find these people who are kind of on that side, whether it's your Rich Paul, your Nick Wrights, your Shannon Sharps, etc. You will find these people blatantly lying, and it's easy to catch them, right? But Rich Paul was this yesterday? Either yesterday or the day before.
Yesterday.
Okay, yesterday. Thank you. Was interviewed by Pat McAfee. So of course they were talking some different NBA topics, and of course some other stuff came up. So what really got me is Rich Paul somehow decided that despite what we know and what we have known for the past 15 years now, that Chris Bosh, LeBron James, and D Wade in Miami were not a big three. So what we're going to do, we're going to listen to what Rich Paul had to say about that. I'm going to come back. I'm going to get Transformers' thoughts on that. And then I'm going to give my thoughts. And then we'll hear just a little bit of extra commentary that has an interesting take on that as well. So first we're going to play Rich Paul. And I got to say, well, you know what? I'll save it. Don't make that face, Transformer.
Look, the names on the back of the jersey is one thing. We've seen it not work in other instances. 20 years ago, it didn't work. When the Lakers had all the names, they walked into Detroit and they was beat 4-1 in the finals. So that's not the end all be all. I always love a big two. I don't really love a big three. I don't really. People talk big three, but the big three thing has never really worked. And you say, well, what happened in Miami? That wasn't really a big three.
Let's hear how he explains this. So he's about to go forward, but let me ask you real quick, Transformer. Before he goes forward, do you think what was in Miami was a big three? I'm just curious to know your thoughts. Okay. Carrying on.
There was 3 guys that were in the lottery, and they did really well individually on their team. So they put up big numbers and had big accomplishments. But when you think about it, Bosh was the ultimate professional. He took a back seat.
So, yes, he did. And I'm not arguing that. But what he's arguing here is that, and you just said you believe Miami was a big three. So what Rich Paul, is now trying to argue, trying to rewrite history, right? To try and kind of take some of the stain off of his guy. He's trying to argue that what Miami had was not a big three. And I find that very interesting. And just to, before we continue with this clip, Chris Bosh was all NBA prior to joining Miami, right? He had led his team to the playoffs, I think either 2 or 3 years prior to that. And I believe he averaged 24 and 10 and a half the prior year before joining Miami, right? It sounds like a big time player. And that sounds like the third of a big three. Now, was he LeBron? Of course not. Was he D Wade? No. But he was the third guy, right? The if you look at LeBron or Wade, however you put him, whichever one was on top, and then Wade or LeBron, however you put him, which one was second, and then Bosh just a little bit lower. Am I right on that?
Correct.
Okay, cool. So I just want to. So we do have a big three. We just have levels of players on said big three. All right, let's go on.
And he played a role in which, because he had such a high IQ And he was such a professional as an individual. His approach to everything is what made that work. When you look in Boston, okay, you can say Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce was a big three. Again,
Rondo.
thinking about names, but the way that offense was ran, Rondo's capability during that time, it was a lot different. When you seen people go for that, it never really worked. And
what was he trying to say about Boston there? Help me out. What was, because I didn't really understand why he brought Boston up. Is he trying to say they were a big three? Is he trying to say they weren't, and what Rondo brought to it made it work? Can you help me out on that? I really don't understand that.
From my perspective, he
From
was referencing the same thing about Miami, saying that Boston, labeled a big three, wasn't a big three. The addition of Rondo made it bigger than what it was. That's my perspective. It's your take. You go ahead with it, brother.
Right. So remember when I was talking about how this is a while back and you and I kind of got into it about this, and you were the one who kind of made me realize when I was talking about how with the Celtics big three, that Celtics big three, how what is it, that they had all been in the league for a long time, right? Which is part of the reason I saw it differently. But then you reminded me, like, wait a minute, Ray Allen was killing just the year before he got there, right? I think averaged 20 a game in Seattle. Him and Kobe used to go at each other out west, man. Jeez. But regardless, I say that to say, like, I don't know how anybody can argue that Boston team wasn't a big three, you know? KG was still nice. He won Defensive Player of the Year that first year in Boston. Obviously, Paul Pierce, I think, was 22, 23 points a game the year prior. I don't know how anyone could argue that wasn't a big three, but okay. But let's continue with Rich Paul here.
I've had this conversation with several different, owners of teams, and having this debate whether you go big three, whether you not go big three. I like a big two in depth.
So real quick, he says he's had this conversation with several owners of teams. Of course, owners are going to say they don't want a big three; they want big two in depth. Why?
If you got salary cap at the top,
right? You're in the luxury tax. Yeah. Of course, owners are going to say that. See, this is what I talk about, man. With the LeBron fans, they always talk and try to. The way they put stuff out there is really frustrating because they act as if we're all stupid, and it's like, no, we have brains that work too. You're not going to ban, but well. Actually, they get a lot of people, but some of us have brains that work too, and you're not getting some of us with the stuff that you're kicking. But let's finish up Rich Paul here, then we'll come back, and I want to get your more in-depth thoughts on it.
It's what I like, That seems to be a winning pedigree.
So he's saying that he likes a big two in depth, and there's nothing wrong with that. But like I said, my main issue is him trying to convince us now and rewrite history that what was in Miami with Chris Bosh, D Wade, and LeBron James, all three in their prime at that point now, where it's not a big three. Go ahead, man.
How long ago was that?
How long ago was what?
The big three in Miami.
2010, 15 years ago.
Okay. Go ahead.
So what? What?
No, I was just asking a question while you was.
Okay. Go ahead. Well, so I'm finished the clip. I wanted to get your more in-depth thoughts on it, and then
my bad. It's on me.
You good? My bad. You good?
I was just asking a question. I was going to let you finish. I was asking a question. My bad.
Mm-hmm.
So, was Miami a big three? Yes, it was. Mm-hmm. Was Boston a big three? Big four, if you ask me, because when Rondo got in the form. That boy, he was just a threat as much as Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, and KG. So big four was what I saw in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
What I will say, his opinion of big two, big three, it's allowed to change because the big three he saw in Miami and Boston, like you said, was in 2010.
Mm-hmm.
He saw how that's been trying to work with people getting big threes after big three and trying that role over and over and over again. And he realized as an agent, as a top premier agency in the NBA, this don't work. Like, okay, they made like Boston somehow made it work. Miami somehow made it work. But that was just because they had two of the greatest players that ever played in their fields.
Mhm.
Boston really had a cheat code because they really had a big four. It wasn't even a big three. It was a big four when they went to go win the championship. So what he's seen over since LeBron, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh, that everybody who's tried a big three since then, it runs into cap issues. You have no depth. You have a high salary cap. You can't do nothing in the trade market. You can't do nothing in free agency. He's seen that. So I think not Chris Paul. I'm ready to say Chris Paul.
With two different iterations of big threes, but go ahead.
But Rich Paul is allowed to have that notion to be, okay, I don't like the way this works because I'm seeing in the last 10 years, teams are winning it with two. I just need two guys and then a bunch of role players, a bunch of great role players, a stack bench, Golden State. You look at, granted, Toronto won, but you know what I mean? They had one superstar, then they had like a second guy. You look at Denver, they had Jokic. Jamal Murray to me is an all-star. I just hate that he hasn't been voted an all-star, but to me he's an all-star. But you look at when they won it, those guys were just loaded. You look at Milwaukee when they won. You look at Giannis, but you look at Jrue Holiday. You look at the bench. You look at everybody else as a role player. Boston, you look at their big two, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. But then you look at Jrue Holiday. You look at Derek White.
The lower level big three, though.
Who's the big three?
From Boston.
Porzingis is not a three.
That's how they see that is Porzingis.
Nobody sees Porzingis as a big three in today's song.
I disagree.
The reason why I disagree, he hasn't been top anything in the last 5 years prior to him getting there. You have to be that guy and insert it into this equation to be a big three. He wasn't that guy. He was bouncing around. He was in Dallas, choking in the playoffs, being injured in Dallas. And then he came to Boston and then, they won the championship. Before the championship run, he wasn't even there. He was hurt. He was hurt. So he came in on the tail end of it. But I look at Rich Paul's statement and I look at it as he is allowed to have that opinion. Like I prefer a big two over a big three because I've seen multiple teams after what LeBron James did. Everybody thought since LeBron James do it, I can do it. And it's going to be easy. And they learned the hard way. It's not. You guys aren't the nucleus to your big three. LeBron James came to be a nucleus in his big three because one, he can score and he can facilitate. Everybody else who tried it were just scorers or they could just facilitate the basketball. They couldn't do both at the same time. Bron wears a lot of hats on that side of the basketball.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. That's not the question. There's no doubt about that.
But that's what made those big threes work for him. Boston's big three worked because they actually added a four, which was Rondo, and it turned into a big four. And Rondo was that facilitator.
I don't think it was a big
three guys work.
Yeah, that's a whole different thing. That first year when they actually won the chip, I think that was a big three, and Rondo was a very good role player.
Yeah, I mean, but he turned to be much bigger than what he was.
Yes, eventually, yes,
much bigger than what he was. But again, Miami to me was a big three. Am I going to shy this man from having an opinion on what his big three is? Because for a small part, I see his interpretation, and I want to read this real quick.
Yeah.
And I'm not at all comparing Rich Paul to this guy. So if you guys are in the chat, please don't look at the name and compare names. This ain't apples to apples. This is more apples to oranges. The public perception of Albert Einstein's different thinking was multifaceted, ranging from awe and admiration to misunderstanding and even ridicule. His willingness to challenge conventional wisdom and embrace unconventional ideas led to groundbreaking discoveries. Meaning, I can have a different opinion.
Absolutely.
But it doesn't change the facts that are already there. Right? The facts of the big three, they're called the freaking Heatles. He can't change that. You could type in the Heatles and it's gonna pop up in Wikipedia. It's there. It's already there. Yeah. He can't rewrite history. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. He can't rewrite what's already there.
Dude. That's my whole point. That's what he's trying to do.
But he can't.
No, he can't. But this is the whole thing about LeBron and his camp and his fans. They're constantly trying to rewrite history a la Nick Wright, a la Shannon Sharp, a la his crazy fans. They're constantly trying to rewrite history because they know that LeBron's work can't stand on its own. So they're trying to rewrite history to force people into believing that he's the GOAT, right? Remember, LeBron set up the whole, LeBron was very much involved in, putting that Miami team together, all that, right? And then he goes on the freaking Mind the Game with JJ Redick last year before he got the job, talking about, well, we didn't get enough from the minimums. Like, what do you need, bro? What do you need? Young disciple, stop saying it has nothing to do with LeBron. If Rich Paul is talking, you can believe LeBron has something to do.
I won't do that.
Stop it, bro.
I won't do that.
Being disingenuous. But hold on. So let me say this, Transformer. I looked this up while you were talking. I asked AI, is Tatum, Brown, and Porzingis considered a big three? The response, it checked 25 web pages, right? It says, yes, Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Kristaps Porzingis are considered a big three for the Boston Celtics by many in the NBA community. Term big three refers to a trio of star players who form the core of a team's success, and this group fits that mold due to their individual talents and collective impact. That's what I'm trying to tell you. They're not one of those big threes, but yes, when Porzingis is playing, people consider that a big three. I'm trying to tell you.
AI isn't a good search engine for that. I don't believe. Because if that's the case, they probably gonna call the Lakers a big three. LeBron James, Luka Doncic, and Austin Reeves. That's a big three.
That's a stretch. Austin Reeves is a contributor, but I think that's a stretch for a big three.
Averaging 20? Chris Paul's averaged 19.
You might be right then.
So, I mean, if you ask AI, they're probably going to call the Lakers a big three.
Maybe. But the point
Austin Reeves averaged 20. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
25 web pages. But regardless, the point I'm trying to make is no one said it's the all right. But the point I'm trying to make is back to the topic, right? You said that they can't change what was written. They can't change the past. But this is what the LeBron fans try to do, right? So anyway, let me get back to it, right? So remember, Rich Paul just said that Miami wasn't really a big three, right? He just said that. Cool. So let's go ahead and let's take a second to hear somebody else's commentary on whether or not Miami was a big three. Let's see what they say.
Before we talk more spacing, I want to touch on one last thing with the Heat. And that is, I feel like in the NBA, the phrase super team or the term super team is a little bit of a misnomer, because you can have a big three, right? You still need 4 or 5 ancillary role players,
absolutely,
who star in their role
and
then complement the stars.
No question about it.
And it doesn't work. It doesn't work unless you have those guys.
Correct.
And you've lived it multiple times.
I've lived it. I mean, obviously my first year in Miami, yeah, we had a big three.
Whoa, wait, what?
Okay. Wait. That dispels every notion
hold on.
You just said. LeBron James said it. That's all you need. Rich Paul is his own man, Bruce.
I gotta make. Hold on.
But we had to build our team on all minimum guys. Obviously, my first year in Miami, yeah, we had a big three.
Wait, what? Hold on. Let me, because I know I made this up. It's AI talking. This is fake news. He never really said that. Let me just.
Obviously, my first year in Miami, yeah, we had a big three.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
My gosh.
Time out. Now.
Yes.
Bruce, understand.
Mm-hmm.
You are a grown-ass man.
Mm-hmm.
Your opinion and my opinion don't always match, correct?
That's right.
I can ask my brother Eddie in the comments. I can ask my brother Mike in the comments. Our opinions are not going to always be direct.
Mm-hmm.
Rich Paul is still his own man.
Mm-hmm.
He can say what he wants to say. if this came out of LeBron James's mouth, that was a big three, that doesn't mean Rich Paul has to agree on that.
No,
this is Rich Paul's thought. This is why I read what I said. Multifaceted, ranging from admiration to misunderstanding and even ridicule. His willingness to challenge conventional wisdom, LeBron James just said it, and embrace unconventional ideas. His idea of a big three and LeBron's don't match.
No, what's
okay?
No, what you're missing. This is what's really you're saying that, and okay, cool. They don't match. All right. What's really happening? What you're missing is Rich Paul out here trying to change the narrative. He's trying to do exactly what you just said. He's trying to rewrite history because he wants to change it. So now we can say, oh, no. We thought LeBron's super teams was loaded in Miami, but he didn't really have a big three. He didn't really have a big three. He knows they had a big three, but he got caught out there lying. This is my point. Remember earlier I told you, I have the proof that he's lying, right?
Who's he? Who's he? LeBron or Rich Paul?
Rich Paul. Lying. Okay. Intent to deceive. Remember when we talked about lying before, right? There's a difference between saying something and not knowing or being unaware, and then there's intent to deceive, right?
Intent. And there's a right of having an opinion.
Clearly doing. But you can have an opinion. That's fine. But lying, intentionally lying, and we know.
How is he lying, Bruce?
Because we all know that they had a big three, but what he's trying to do is change the narrative so that now we can take more pressure off of LeBron for having lost because he didn't actually have a big three. That's what's happening there. You don't see it? You really don't see it?
No,
that's confounding to me.
This was the time that I hated LeBron, and I really don't see it.
Wow.
Because all I hear is that the man who played in the game, the man who went to Miami and said, Chris Bosh, bring your ass. We're going to Miami. He said, there is a big three. And this was him talking to JJ Redick, if I'm not mistaken. Was that JJ Redick?
Yes.
So that means this was said in the last year.
Yeah.
In the last year, this was said. Rich Paul has the right to his own opinion. My bad, I'm about to knock stuff down. If you listen to what he's saying, he's looking at the attributes and what Chris Bosh was able to produce in Miami and disclaimed him as a big three. That's Rich Paul's reasoning. That's not Bron James. Bron is already telling you
I didn't say
big three I had in Miami. The big three. So stop listening to the cat. Listen to the dog. The dog is barking the loudest. That meow ain't gonna make it far. That's Rich Paul. That's what you're doing. You're making this more of a LeBron thing when it's really just Rich Paul saying what he wants to say.
This is the thing. I didn't make this a LeBron thing. What I'm saying, Rich Paul,
you think it all stems from LeBron. That's what you're doing, Bruce. Don't stop. Don't play games.
In this case, I'm actually not saying that it all stems from LeBron. I'm saying this is Rich Paul trying to do something for LeBron, and he got caught out there lying, trying to do it because he's trying to rewrite history to change the narrative so that LeBron don't feel the heat from the losses that he took.
That's a good point.
That's what it is. So what he's saying now is, first we heard LeBron's, we didn't get enough help from the minimums. That right there was despicable, but we're not even talking about LeBron right now, right? You loaded up the team, but then you blame it on the minimums. That's why Eddie House had to come get you, but that's a different thing. And then, right? Okay, so that was one thing. But now we hear Rich Paul out here trying to change it and saying it wasn't a big three when we all know it was a big three. That's what I'm saying that's why I'm saying he got caught lying. And that's amazing to me that people literally can sit here and still try to defend this when it's obvious he got caught lying. That's amazing to me.
I'm never going to tell a man that his thought on what makes a big, because even in this conversation, we've had this conversation. Matter of fact, Young Disciples right here in the chat, right? Young Disciples on the phone. He was talking about superstars. And I asked him a question. What is your definition of superstar? His definition didn't match mine. That's okay. Rich Paul's definition of a big three doesn't match LeBron's. That's okay. That's his opinion, Bruce.
Why are we under?
If you can agree, if you can go on Google right now and you could type in the big three, the Heatles is the first thing that pops up. Rich Paul can't stop that.
But he
can't rewrite history if history's already been wrote.
But what I'm saying is that's exactly it. And that's what he's trying to do. That's my point. That's my whole point here. That's why I'm like, he got caught out there lying.
Why can't he just have an opinion, Bruce?
So wait.
Everybody can have a freaking opinion, bro.
Yeah, but we got to stop this foolishness that an opinion can't be wrong. Because that's a whole nother thing.
Okay, well, he's wrong in his own opinion. Stop playing it like he's trying to
we know
something for LeBron. When LeBron, out of his mouth, when he made the big three, he called it a big three. 10 years down the line, matter of fact, 13, what's this, 2025? So he said this in 2024. 14 years down the line, Bron, who played the game, said it was a big three. There's no denying that the player himself said it was a big three. Am I right or wrong?
You're right.
So this man, Rich Paul, didn't even play one fucking dribble in the NBA.
That doesn't mean that
he has a right from his outside perspective. I mean, based off numbers and how Chris Bosh played, I wouldn't consider him a big three because of this. His perception of a big three, bro. That's the same thing as having a superstar conversation. Young Disciple, what's a superstar? I guess what? Young Disciple is going to have a different opinion than what I think of as a superstar.
Right.
His big three opinion is as different as LeBron's. LeBron knows it's a big three. LeBron saw this man, Chris Bosh, average 25 in Toronto. He saw Dwayne Wade just do 3-4 years prior, winning the championship in 2006. He saw that.
Transformer, you're making my point.
So how is this a lying thing when it's just his perception of everything?
Oh, no, because your intent to deceive.
But obviously he's not deceiving nobody. That's what I'm saying.
He's trying to, is my point. He's trying to. We see some of us see what he's doing. Some of us do not. But the point is, he's out here, right, saying something utterly ridiculous. And why? Okay, let me ask you this. Why do you think that he would say something like that? Real talk. Just because that's what he thinks? Really? No, I'm asking you. Is that why you say that?
Okay. All right. Listen. Oh my God. Okay. Grown men. I've never seen one unless he is a total B word. And you know what B word I'm talking about. Always had their own thoughts, had their own sayings, had their own philosophy, had their own ways of thinking. Rich Paul is entitled to that, bro. Other players, people, he say, she say, they are entitled to their way of perceiving something. That doesn't always mean what you believe in, I know that's what he's doing. He's trying to rewrite history. So he's just literally going to contradict LeBron James just constantly for the last 15 years. He's going to contradict what he's saying all of a sudden. When I'm pretty sure when LeBron James retires, they're going to bring up the big three. And guess what LeBron James is going to say? The big three that we had did great. We won 2 titles out of 4. Congratulations. We didn't get the 4, 5, 6, 7 that I was yelling, but we at least ended up getting 2 that catapulted my career. Once he says that, everything Rich Paul says is his own thing. He's his own man, Bruce. Everybody in the media is not that much of a puppet, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, well, hold on. Let's take the rest of the media out of it. Even though Nick Wright is a puppet, Shannon Sharp is a puppet, Kay Perk is a puppet. There's a lot of media puppets. Would you agree? Real talk.
Say it one more time.
I said Nick Wright is a puppet, Shannon Sharp is a puppet, Kay Perk is a puppet. There are a fair amount of media puppets for LeBron. Am I right?
No, I disagree.
All right. Okay. So, all right.
Why? Because if that's the case, I'm a fucking puppet. He don't pay me a dime.
No. You're not like them, and you know that. I give you credit for that. You're not like them. Yeah, but that's a whole different thing.
But they favor him. I favor LeBron.
No, not like them. And you know what I'm talking. Come on, man. But we're not even gonna take it there. Here's the thing, right? What we're forgetting is that Rich Paul's job, literally, as LeBron's agent, is to present LeBron at all times in the absolute best right possible. Correct?
My bad. I'm reading. Not
No,
Twizzler. I'm Twizzler. Steve.
Yeah.
My bad. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
As his agent, it is literally Rich Paul's job to present LeBron in the best light possible at all possible times, correct? That's
Absolutely
his job
not.
as his agent, right?
Mm-mm.
Wait, so what's his job as his agent? You serious right now?
To run clutch. It ain't his job as an agent. LeBron is his own agent.
Run clutch. No, Rich Paul is LeBron's agent.
Are you being for real?
Is he not?
You being for real? Who got him the damn job?
Is he not?
Who put Rich Paul there?
Oh, listen, I will give LeBron all the credit in the world for that. I've told you that multiple times, right?
Just as easy as this. LeBron said, "This is my number, Rich. Go get it. No questions." It's the other way around when you're the agent. This is the number I can get you. Here's what we can work on, superstar or all-star or whatever the case may be. LeBron's, it's backwards for Rich Paul. Hey, Rich, I need 60. Rich say, okay. I'll be back to you when I get 60. That's it. There's no rebuttal. That's not like Braun is still the agent. Rich Paul just got the credentials. There's a difference. It's not the same. You're weighing two things the same, and they not. We all know that. Now, if you think that Rich Paul's that much of a puppet, then you best to know that LeBron James is his own agent. He's just telling Rich Paul what to do.
So okay, so let's just say David Falk, we know, was Michael Jordan's agent, right? I don't know if he's still his agent. I know he was during his playing days, right? So when Mike says, that means Mike is his agent. Mike is his own agent. David Falk wasn't his agent.
First of all,
makes sense to me.
First of all, if Mike was his own agent, he would have been at the NBA a long time ago. That man, Mike, ain't good with money to save his life. Mike ain't good with money. Mike ain't a numbers guy.
Well, what I'm doing is I'm trying to make a comparison based on a similarly comparable figure as a player. So I'm based on what you just said. If Mike says, "Hey, I think I'm worth this. See if you can get me that," that makes Mike his own agent versus David being his agent. I don't understand this.
Okay, what's the agent's name?
David Falk.
Was he an agent before Michael Jordan got there?
I think so.
He was. He was an agent.
Right.
So he's already been through all types of school, leisure, training, facilitating to get there. That was before Michael Jordan became who he was, right? So Michael Jordan then became who he was, hired him as an agent. I now have an agent. Michael Jordan sought to him for all of his financial needs. It didn't work like that. Rich Paul is there because of LeBron.
That doesn't mean he's not his agent, though. That doesn't mean that.
If you share that same philosophy about the agency, then you should ignore everything Rich Paul says when it comes to anything, because now he's his own man. You're telling me he's his own man finally. He's his own man, right? So he's entitled to his own opinion.
I've never.
So he can go out there and handle business without LeBron James being a part of anything.
What I'm saying, I think you're not tracking what I'm saying. If Rich Paul is LeBron's agent, we cannot act as if when he speaks regarding things that have to do with LeBron, that he's not doing his job and trying to paint LeBron in the best light possible, right? And whether or not he and LeBron agreed on this particular topic of what was a big three and what was not, we can see by his commentary what he was attempting to do. That's my point. That doesn't have anything to do with him not being his own man or him not being on one accord with LeBron in terms of what they're saying. That is what I'm saying, because it's obvious, I guess, unless you're a LeBron fan, what he was trying to do with that commentary. And that was wild. I'm like, wait, what?
Okay.
Nah, we're not blocking, Rod Dub. We're not blocking. You good, man. All right, let's go ahead and say again.
I'm sorry, I spoke out loud.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead, brother.
Did I put that up there?
I did.
You did? I did.
Because even Rasul was saying LeBum is the agent, even though he's saying LeBum. I mean, you can call him a bum what you want. I can't call that guy a bum, but
no, I can't do that.
He's the agent. Rich Paul's the puppet.
Right.
Like, yo, I need 60. Go get 60. Rich Paul says, say less. I'll be right back.
No, I definitely think Rich Paul he's the agent, but he has to do what his client wants him to do, or what was in the best interest of his client. Sid Bubba, what's going on, Chief? What you got, man?
What's going on, Kevin?
Training.
Nice thing.
Sid Bubba?
Yes, it is. That's the Chief.
Guess what? Transformer. I'm an old school leader of the LeBron James Coalition in the Beehive. I don't take no jive. Lakers in 5. Lakers in 5.
Oh, man. Right.
But I gave you my opinion earlier, Bruce.
Yes, you did.
And this is what I got 2 parts to it. I got the Rich Paul part, and I got my part.
Okay.
Actually, I agree with Rich in this sense.
Okay.
When Rich, I call it a layered take. When Rich saying it really wasn't a big 3, it might sound like he was minimizing Chris, but he can't. CB was an absolute star.
Mm-hmm.
The man went 11-time All-Star. The only 2 All-Stars he didn't get when he had to come in. However, CB had to take a step back in volume to LeBron and D-Wade and let them do their thing, and he had to sacrifice. So he couldn't be the big 3, so to speak, because he had to sacrifice and lower his game in order for the team to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where he was going.
Well,
now,
can I interrupt you real quick? Let me interrupt you real quick. As a Laker fan, you know this because the same way I watch the Lakers, you watch the Celtics. So you know that when KG and Kevin Ray Allen came in, Ray Allen went from 26 a game to 18 a game. That doesn't mean it wasn't still a big 3.
Well, I think, but you also had KG doing his part, but you also had a lot. Nobody took a bigger fall than what CB had to do. CB took the biggest fall. He had to sacrifice. He had to lay down on the sword. So he had to lower himself. D-Wade is his team. LeBron, the best player, the third man out. But that's going to be my next option. So to me, I would say it was a big 3, but it was just a different time in which CB had to sacrifice where it wasn't the traditional sense they got the equality. So CB had to fall back in order for it to work.
Right.
Now, my second take on it is if you're playing in the system, I call it Le System with LeBron James.
Le System, facts.
Okay. When he's the primary ball handler, the third superstar always takes the back row, and it's more of a big 2 than a big 3. Am I lying, Bruce?
I disagree. I do. I disagree.
Okay, all right,
I get what you're saying, but I disagree there.
Okay. Listen. All right. So when LeBron James was the primary ball handler and the decision maker, the third star had to adjust the most and became more of a specialist than a focal point. Chris Bosh, he was 20-10 in Toronto.
Yeah.
But then they used him to space the floor and help with defense. Kevin Love, 26-13.
Yeah.
He was just a catch and shoot guy and pass out. Russell Westbrook. So if you playing in the system and you that third superstar, you really ain't gonna be a superstar. It's gonna be more of a big 2 than a specialized star than a big 3.
Well,
that's playing into the system, though.
Let me interrupt you here on that real quick. As you mentioned, Chris Bosh and Kevin Love, right? Here's the thing about those guys. Those guys are both post players that get busy on the low block. And LeBron, of all people, cannot play with a low post player, right? He needs that room in the lane to operate because of his limited skill set. Well, not nearly as much now, right? In the last 2 years, as I've admitted, his mid-range, his 3-ball have gotten a lot better. But at that time, he needed that room in the lane to operate. That's why he had to push Bosh and Love out to be catch and shoot guys. So it's not a function of them necessarily having to take such a big step back. It's because his ability to play was limited. Yeah.
Right. But you also got to look at it this way. When you play with LeBron and the system, It's not room for a big three. It's only going to be those two. It's only going to be Bron, Kyrie, Bron, D Wade, Bron, AD. That other third guy, he gets left out. So he gets relegated out of the big three because he's more or less a specialist star. You know, those guys were the men and where they were at. But you play in the system and you play with LeBron, you got to take that back seat as the third star.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying.
I see your argument.
I'll add to this. As a big three, what do your points need to be for you to be considered a big three?
I don't know. Sorry. Go on, Sid.
Okay. I'm a little old school. Now, usually when I say old school Lakers, all right, you know, we always talked about Magic and Kareem, but God, dog, that guy named Big Game James Worthy was my guy.
That's right.
James.
Yeah. Then you had B. Scott, you had all those other guys. But we always really said Kareem and Magic. Magic was Cap, and it was the other guy. Those other guys were just about all HOF players, like the Celtics. We always say Bird and McHale, but DJ was a Finals MVP with Seattle before he came to Seattle. So you had like DJ, then Bird, McHale, Parrish. Them guys were loaded, but you really talk about Bird and Parrish. So some of those guys, even though it's big three or not, two of the guys are going to get most of the shine anyway. But with the LeBron system, and that's the thing that I wanted to really get at you, Bruce, because when y'all said when he played at the system got to be catered to him. You can't have a third superstar playing in that system. And not to diminish CD, but he was the man. He was. You got a 20-10 guy getting relegated to 11.
Achieved. How?
Right. So that's what happened. So it's not so much that these guys weren't superstars, but they had to sacrifice those roles in order for them to be successful.
I hear what you're saying, Chief, and that makes a lot of sense. And I don't 100% disagree with how you're framing it in terms of what it became, right? But what we're talking about is the construction, right? Putting three guys that were, you know, three top 12 players in the league at the time on the same team. That's what makes it a big three. Now, I get what you're saying in terms of the production and what it had to be once it actually came together on the floor to win. But I'm referring to the construction. So I see two things can be true. I see what you're saying.
Right,
you make a solid
Right, because you could be a big three on paper, but doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna be a big three on the floor. Let's look at Phoenix Suns and what happened with their big three.
Oh, what happened? Terrible.
It was terrible. I mean, they had three great guys, and they thought they were going to do, but it didn't flourish out. Somebody going to get left out. Bill was odd man out. So I'm just saying, usually when you construct those big threes and superstars and have those systems, what Transformer said earlier, the only two guys going to really get the ball about that third guy going to have to make that adjustment. Now, when it comes to the Lakers, guess who's running the show? It ain't the LeBron system no more. It's the Luka system. And everybody got to go around Luka. So the play is going to be different.
Yeah. No, that's a fact.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
That's about it, guys.
Yeah, no doubt.
That was good.
Yeah, that's a great call. I appreciate that, Chief. No, my argument is that, you know, like I said, just I know I'm not dumb, and I know what Rich Paul was trying to do there. And you're laughing because you know what he was trying to do too. That's why you're laughing. You know. Now you called in and you made an extremely astute, you know, a senior non-commissioned officer explanation, and you made it simple. I respect all of that. But you know exactly what he was trying to do, Chief. You know it. That's why you're laughing.
All right, Cap.
All right, Chief. Let me take Nino, man. Let me take this call. Right. Pause. Wow. All right, brother. Nino, what's going on, brother? How are you?
Man, doing all right. Y'all doing all right?
Yeah, we maintaining, man. Thank you.
I ain't gonna lie, Bruce. You should have had the pen and paper out, dog.
Why is that?
You man, Sid took you to school, man. That was Sid Bubba, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was Sid Bubba. Yeah. No, he had some great points. I don't know if you heard the last part of the call. And And I agreed with him. Okay, yeah. So I agreed with a lot of what he said, but I think, two things can be true, because where Sid Bubble was framing it, and he did an excellent job in terms of the production on the floor. I was framing it in terms of the construction of the roster, right? So that's why I'm like, two things could be true. But yeah, he made a great call.
I agree with both of y'all, because if you go on the names, which I've been saying this for years, if you go on the names, yes, you can even call it a super team. I always said it wasn't a super team, because we seeing it, and y'all broke it down with Phoenix, with James Harden, when KD tried to do with KD, Kyrie and James Harden, they realized, hold on, Kyrie ain't the best at point guard and running real point guard and facilitating. So James Harden said, I can't be a 30 per game scorer with two more 30 per game scorers. I got to dial back and facilitate. So what we ran into is Rich Paul realized, and I think the NBA done realized, wait a minute, we can't have three guys that just go and do the same things. We got to actually build a team. So what Rich Paul said, and Miami, I don't know who idea was. If it was Bud idea, Wade, Bosh, or Eric Spoelstra, but somebody realized, hey man, somebody gonna have to do the dirty work and the little things, because we always got Bud and Wade. They kind of play similar. They ain't the best shooters. They play similar, so they gonna kind of be in each other's way. Chris Bosh, we need you to go stand over there in the 3-point line, hit shots, work on your shot, on your game all season, rebound good, and you ain't gonna get no credit for it.
Nope.
That's all he was saying.
No.
That's why when you heard Chris, Brun and Wade talk about how good Chris Bosh was, because they really probably know, like, this guy really probably could have been even better than y'all knew. But somebody had to sacrifice. So now the NBA need to see. I think they done seen it, like, man, you can't spend all your money on three players. And this why and then this point here, Bruce, you gotta cut Brun a break on what he said about the role players. Because it's evident. It's evident now. How can you not? When you look at Phoenix, and what's Phoenix problem? Bradley Beal don't want to do nothing else but be a 30-game scorer.
Right.
He don't want to. He don't want to play 3-and-D. He ain't want to come off the bench. He ain't want to try to facilitate. He want to be Kevin Durant. So when you see all these,
he's used to scoring 30 in Washington. That's why. But he never changed his mentality to say, I'm not there anymore, and I got much better players with me, so I need to scale it back. So I'm with you, but it's hard when you are. You've played basically your whole basketball life playing that way and being that dude. But I hear you though.
Right, but see, Bud, and that what we can agree on, what Bud and them thought versus reality. When they got out there and they realized, hold on, Joel Anthony can't shoot, them pretty can't shoot. I ain't the best shooter. I really can't shoot the three. I kick it away, he can't really shoot the three. The only shooter out here is Mario Thomas.
Mario Thomas, Ray Allen, Eddie House.
No. The first year they didn't have Ray Allen.
Oh, okay. You talk about the first year.
And Eddie House barely played. Mike Miller, I think they had Mike Miller.
Yep.
So they had one shooter off the bench, and the starting lineup wasn't real Taylor. So if you think about what Bud was saying, because he said that the bench wasn't complimentary of the way they want to play. They thought they would just go, hey, we're gonna line up, we got the best three guys, we're gonna go play basketball. They found out now you gotta have a little team to it. Which I appreciate that. I seen that coming. But yeah, that's all I want to say, man. He broke it down, man.
No, he did break it down, and I don't disagree with most of what he said. But like I said, things can be true, He talking about production. He talk about production. I'm talking about construction. So but I get what he's saying though.
Leave Transformer alone. He gonna be smoking cigarettes like I'm doing with these children. What we gonna do, bro?
Man, Transformer ain't smoking no cigarettes, man. That dude worked too hard for that. He ain't doing that.
what we gonna do about these Steelers? Everybody gonna be smoking cigarettes.
I ain't worried about no Steelers, man. I ain't worried about them.
Y'all hold it down, man.
No doubt, Nino. Thanks for the
sir.
Thank you, man.
Uh-huh.
All right, brother. Another good call from Nino, man. But yeah, Transformer, did you Google who is LeBron James' agent?
Why do I need? I'm not doing
because you said Rich Paul was not his agent. So I checked a few different sources. Everyone seems to have Rich Paul listed as his agent. I mean, I'm told that I shouldn't run with narratives, so I'm doing the journalistic thing, and I'm checking, and everything has Rich Paul listed as his agent. So I'm just saying. I mean,
so okay.
I mean, I'm not going to madeupmonkeycrap.com. I'm actually looking at on real sites. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Real sources.
Yeah.
Hit that like button, y'all. Steve, what's going on, brother?
What up, fellas? What up, Twizzler? How we doing?
Why are you here?
Hey, shout out Nino and Sid. I saw they called. They had good calls.
Always.
For sure. But yeah. Okay, this is what we have to get to, because I know we're kind of like, I get what you're saying, Twizzler. Like, can Rich Paul have his own opinion and think for himself? I think we all can agree, like,
yes,
every person can. Well, I think maybe like Bruce and I are kind of thinking where it's like, is it a genuine opinion though? Like, you can say it's your opinion and we have to take you at face value, but coming from our worldview, it's like, all right, the dude's attached to LeBron. Like, LeBron's legacy and narrative definitely benefits Rich Paul. It has his entire professional career because he's attached to LeBron.
Right.
So when he says something like this in the context of, like, the way I interpret it, the way he's kind of like diminishing Bosch in a sense, it seems like, it makes me wonder, like, are you really saying your opinion? Are you saying something to try to kind of like cope for the fact that they went like 2-4 in Miami, and they did have the Dallas, that series was a blunder for them. So it's like, I think a lot of people who aren't devout Braun sector, I'm not saying you are, Twizzler. I'm just saying, how the jock riders ride.
Transformer
like
is that. Let me be
a
clear,
lot of people
Steve.
will make
He's a lot of things. He's not
excuses.
that.
Oh, no, I ain't accusing you of that. But I'm just looking at it from, like, we know how that group of people move, man. I mean, so is this just Rich Paul honestly giving a genuine opinion? And my next question would be is, can an opinion have a bias and an agenda attached to it? And I would argue yes, and specifically in this case, where it's like Rich Paul can go out on national TV and say it's his opinion, but it's like he's so attached to LeBron. It's like the dad at the little baseball league game saying, my kid's the best player on the field. It's like, could it be true? Could that be your opinion? Sure, but it's like you're so close to the damn thing, I don't know if it's an authentic opinion or not. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's how we're looking at this from Rich Paul. And the fact that he's kind of like diminishing Chris Bosh, dude, that's crazy work, man. We're talking about a guy who was a perennial all-star while he was on that Miami team. Like, he was an integral piece. I mean, I know it's just a quote, but it's like he was on that stage when they announced everything, the not 5, not 6, not 7. It's like, man, how are you going to be LeBron's rep, go out and now say LeBron didn't have a big 3 in Miami? That's insane. When we all saw that same camp talking about how he didn't have enough help in Cleveland, but now he got the help that he was a part of bringing into Miami. He was a part of that recruit. He was a part of that negotiation to get those 3 together. It's on record. He was doing it while he was in Cleveland. So it's like he was a part of building this behind the scenes. But now we're saying, Bosh wasn't the help we thought. So it's like on one end, you got the bronze sexuals twerking about how he doesn't have enough help. Once he gets the help to go to 4 finals and win 2, now we're going to belittle an integral piece of that big 3, and now he wasn't enough help, or he wasn't as important of a piece. That's where it's like, man, that's such double talk bullshit, and that's what the bronze sexuals do best. So that's where Bruce and I look at it. I know you're not like a devout Braun guy like a lot of these people are,
I'm just saying from our point of view, it's like, I get you saying that he has his own opinion. And it's like, I can say my shit don't stink too. But it's like, well, is that really genuine? Because it's like coming from Rich Paul, it's like it don't seem genuine. You have LeBron's narrative and agenda built into no matter what you move and whatever public statement you make, especially when it's involved with LeBron. That's why I say it's kind of hard to take it as a genuine opinion. Like, could it be his opinion? Sure, but I don't take it as authentic as people want to pretend it is. And that's kind of how I look at it. Again, I think you make good points. I think you both make good points, but I'm looking at it from, again, my opinion, where it's like, I'm not going to take Rich Paul's quote unquote opinion as gospel when he's talking about LeBron. He's not going to give any type of opinion publicly that would paint LeBron in a negative light. We know that. So it's like, why would I blindly believe if he's saying something to possibly, maybe like Bruce saying, rewrite history, where it's like maybe the Miami stint doesn't look as bad because they did lose to Dallas. They did, go 2-4 instead of not 5, not 6, not 7.
Right. Yeah. My argument was never that that Rich Paul can't have his own opinion. That was never my argument, So I don't even know how it got there. My argument was always, if you look with clear eyes, it is obvious what he was trying to do in making that statement, but it is what it is.
That's how I look at it too, where it's like, we know, and this is how I interpret it. It's like LeBron's towards the end of his career, and he's invested in making.
I've been trying to say the whole time.
What?
No, I keep calling him.
One of our lovely members in the chat, man, he just keeps saying Chris Paul, and what I'm trying to get him to do is pay attention. It's not Chris Paul. It's Rich Paul.
Paul.
I know. We say Chris. We say Chris Paul way more than we say Rich Paul. That's all.
Yeah. He's missing it. He finally got it though. I'm pretty sure he's watching. Like, oh damn, I have been messing up, man. My bad. All love, bro. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce your name, but it's all. I'm gonna call you IA. Nah, that's not a good name. Let me give you. What's a nickname for you, brother?
You talking to somebody?
The man with a bunch of syllables in your name. My bad. Go ahead, Steve.
Hey, Twizzler. I was gonna say, if you're talking to me, you can call me Harrison Bucker.
No. You always gonna be 16th chapter. No.
Harrison Bucker.
I'm Harrison Bucker.
I like that.
16th chapel.
I like that.
But hey, I can't remember what I was just gonna say about but one other thing I wanted to talk about was, it's just insane to me. Oh, I know what I wanted to say. I think Rich Paul is doing his PR job right now. I think that's why he's saying stuff like this, where it's like, he represents LeBron. Anything he does in the media is to portray LeBron. And his goal is to get LeBron in the GOAT conversation. So it's like, if he's planting seeds now to try to like belittle Bosh in that Miami stint to somewhat towards the end of LeBron's career. Let's say he doesn't win anymore. I'm not shitting on LA right now. I'm just saying, hypothetically, let's say he doesn't win anymore in LA. Right. And he ends up with 4.
Right.
Like, is this him doing his PR job, representing his client, planting seeds out there, saying like, well, the Miami stint wasn't as a big 3 as everybody makes it out to be, because Chris Bosh had to sacrifice. Right. And it's like, well, okay, even if Chris Bosh had to sacrifice, he was a part of that team going to 4 finals. So it's like, you still can't tell me it's not a big 3. The guy was going to All-Star games his entire tenure while he was with LeBron in Miami. So it's like, I don't understand this Bron sexual mentality, where it's like, we need more help in Cleveland, but then he gets the help in Miami. It doesn't go picture perfect. So now we're going to say, well, it wasn't the help we thought.
Right.
It's this weird like double standard where it's like after the fact, it's like, now we're going to go back to that narrative and kind of like mess with it a little bit. Let's adjust some things. Let's plant some verbiage seeds out here so that the cult of LeBron can now take this and run with it, and it becomes a thing. It's almost like anything to try to navigate this LeBron being the GOAT narrative to get pressed out there. And I honestly, some of the stuff he said, like, that's total blaspheming on Chris Bosh, man. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. Like, I get the numbers might not have reflected what Bosch was doing in Toronto, but to sit here and pretend like he wasn't the defensive anchor of that team, he didn't do his part. You know, he had to rebound more, he had to screen more, he had to pick and pop and shoot more. Like, he adjusted to his role. He did sacrifice, but just because the numbers don't reflect Toronto's numbers, it's like, well, that doesn't diminish him as a player. I mean, not a lot of guys can play with LeBron and accept that sacrifice. Kevin Love did the same thing, and I'm in Ohio, so I hear a lot of guys still twerking for LeBron. They tried doing that around here, where they try to diminish Kevin Love's role in Cleveland and during LeBron's second stint. And it's like, what are we talking about here? We're talking about, if you play fantasy basketball, everybody and their mama wanted Kevin Love. That dude was a walking 28 and 15 in Minnesota. There's a reason that he gave up Andrew Wiggins to bring Kevin Love in. But now, after the fact, it's like, well, Kevin Love wasn't as good as we thought. He had to sacrifice. And Chris Bosh wasn't as good as we thought because he had to sacrifice. And it's like, what you're saying is you're trying to cupcake this sacrifice word, and you're pretty much trying to say, well, they weren't as good as we thought.
So real quick, Steve, and then I'm gonna let you go. What I just thought about that I find very interesting. So what they do is they downplay LeBron's teammates, right? The Minimals, Chris Bosh. It was no longer a big three now, but then they try to make Jordan's teammates Kryptonian. He had Steve Kerr and Dennis Rodman and Scottie Pippen saved him. They do the exact same thing. Isn't that interesting how that works?
It's all narrative play, man. It's all a part of this zealot religion where it's like, we have to twerk for LeBron. It's just crazy how these narratives get shit. I just think it's crazy. And no offense, because you know you're my guy. It's all love. But it's like the fact that you kind of can't see what we're saying as far as like how Rich Paul being so connected to LeBron may have an agenda or bias in his opinion, and he might have an ulterior motive when he's saying these things in public. That's where I think Bruce is trying to there's some possibilities here. I don't know if his quote unquote opinion, and I agree with you, opinions are that. Like, grown men should have their own opinions and think for themselves. But there's money involved here. You know what I'm saying? Like,
plenty of money. It's always about money.
On everything. Like, he is not going to go out there and say anything negative about LeBron or anything that's not in LeBron's best interest.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, I just think that we draw so much emphasis to people that are in LeBron's camp, and Rich Paul is for certainly in LeBron's camp. He's the reason why he's in the league anyway, for having a job as an agent. We just always assume that their words are a law when it didn't come from that man's mouth. That's what I'm like. Everything that these guys or other players, superstars, reporters, professionals, agents, everything they say don't mean it came from LeBron. If that's the way we thinking, then by God, we just need to stop paying attention to everything outside of what's in between that rectangle. Honestly, be 100% honest. We need to stop paying attention to everything outside of that rectangle, because that's not true. People have their own opinions. When you ask me questions on a fly, or we having an interview or the pre-interview, you're like, oh, if you ask me this question, this is just my take on. Everybody has their own take, their own conception, perception, whatever, their own ideology, the ideology of what they think of something. And that's okay. It doesn't have to agree with the masses. It's 15 years of proof that Bron himself said this is a big three. We know it's a big three. He just thinks that, in his opinion, it's not a big three to him.
I think we're going in circles here, Transformer. I think we can agree to disagree, because I think Steve and I see it one way, you see it a different way.
Of course. I mean, it's not a shocker, but go ahead.
Right. Yeah, well, real quick. I agree with you. Transformer. Like, yeah, people are going to have their own opinion. It comes from their mouth. You're going to have somebody ask you a question on the fly. You're going to give your, shoot from the hip how you feel about certain things. And I agree with that. Like, that's fine. That's totally possible. But what I would say is, like, but can opinions have a bias or agenda attached to them? I guess that's the question that needs answered. I'm not saying you have to, like in this hypothetical, it's like, and everybody has a bias or an agenda based off their worldview and their opinion.
If that's what we're thinking, yeah.
Because I don't look at Rich Paul as an unbiased opinion. I guess that's where we just agree to disagree. But I don't want to I want to let you guys move on with the show. I don't want to take up
absolutely. Now, Steve, man, we always appreciate you on here, brother. You know it.
I do. I appreciate you as long as you back off my girl.
Man, I'm taking, bro.
I don't have
where my wife at? Sweetie,
I'm still watching you, bro.
Come here real quick.
Is there for you?
No, we're gonna have an interjection. Now, bump that. Come here real quick. I don't care if you got your bonnet, girl. I love you anyway. You got sauce on your shirt too. Come here. Just poke your head in the can. I'm taking.
Team Nurse.
I'm taking.
What's up, Team Nurse?
This clock ain't mine. As you said, Caitlin is this. My wife is this. If you want to.
God bless you. I just need to find me one now.
Wow,
I was just threatened the way you was brown nosing my girl. You know how we get. I'm territorial, bro. I mark my territory. I don't play around with that.
All right, Steve, we gotta let
you
go. Love you, bro. Love you, man. He's the best, dog. He's the best, man.
All right, brother.
Hey,
hey,
Steve is always
I saw you try to get in, man. I was not trying to ignore you. If you want to take a couple minutes and call real quick before we move on, let's do that.
Water.
Laker Nation, I'm gonna skip you. I'm gonna let Young Disciple try to get in here, man. Young Disciple, call in real quick if you can, man. We give you a couple minutes and then we'll go ahead and move on, man. I wasn't trying to duck you. I saw you calling.
Please help me with that water. This is dry.
Man, yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one. Man, I knew this was going to be one of those topics. You see?
Oh,
yeah, I
know. I already know.
Topic, man.
I got Iffy in the chat. You know what I'm saying? We hype out here, man. It's all it takes. It's all love, man. Iffy is no bad blood, bro. I just like making jokes.
Yeah, man. We out here. This is a safe space. We all come here, try to talk sports and just enjoy this thing and build this community. That's all we're doing here.
Iffy, where you from, bro?
Young Disciple,
we're trying to make a guess on where you're from.
Iffy, I say you're a Nigerian American, man. What you got?
I say he's from Brooklyn.
Oh, you mean where in the States? Yeah.
No, man, I'm messing with you.
Oh, okay. Oh man,
hey, sweetheart, I'm about to choke on this little.
Might be Brooklyn, man. My cousin Iffy lives in Brooklyn, so might be.
Young Disciple, stop commenting and call.
We was trying to get you in, man. I wanted to hear what you had to say, man. We just were on that call, man. Come on,
a little behind. That's probably it.
Yeah, he might be.
He was responding in past time.
Yeah, it could be. Oh, there you go. What's going on, brother?
What's poppin', man?
What's up, man? Wanted to make sure you got a chance to get in.
Hey, before I even talk about that, bro, just let me address this dude, bro, that keep trying to get my attention, bro, and keep putting my name and keep adding me and all that. Listen, bro, like my nigga, I don't want to be friendly, bro. I don't want to talk. I don't want to do none of that, bro. I call in, bro. I come in on the show, bro. Like, nigga, stop at me every time you see me, bro. Like my nigga, like we ain't friends, nigga. None of that. Like the real talk.
Okay. Young Disciple, let me stop you right there, bro.
Let me say one more thing, bro.
But leave it in the comments, man.
Not, bro. Listen to what I'm saying. Let me talk to dude, bro. Because dude,
no, Young Disciple. I want you to understand. Real quick. This is me and Bruce's show. This isn't a show to air out drama. If you got something to say, bro, just please leave it in the comments. That's all I'm asking. Leave it in the comments.
I nothing, bro. I'm just asking. I can't ask a person not to add me.
Yeah, no, because you're here to talk to us, not to who is in the chat, bro. You're here to talk to us, Bruce and me.
Okay, bro. I'm just trying to
just talk to us, bro.
Got you.
But what's popping, bro? What's popping, though?
How you doing, Young Disciple, bro? How you doing, brother?
Shit, I'm Gucci, man. I'm Gucci, man. I'm getting ready. Gucci, man. Ooh, Gucci. Hey, I'm getting ready for these Lakers to take off and do their thing, man. But,
how many games gonna take the win, Young Disciple?
I know everybody been saying Lakers in 5, but
don't be rude. Don't be disrespectful.
Hey,
don't be disrespectful.
Look, bro. You saying against the T-Wolves?
I got it's in 6.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Bruce. Like,
no, man. No, young disciple. Come here real quick. Come closer. Bring yourself close to the camera. Bring yourself closer. You see this right here? You see it right there?
Yeah, I see it.
5. Okay, 5. That's your answer. For anybody asks you that question from here on out,
come on,
answer. Lakers in 5. Right.
Put your down.
Hey, Transformer. You saying we y'all say that y'all saying every round gonna be a 5?
Hey man, no, until we proven wrong, it's Lakers in 5, bro.
My gosh.
No, until we proven wrong, Lakers in 5. Okay.
I don't think Minnesota's gonna roll over. That's why I think it'll be in 6.
But go ahead, young disciple. Go ahead.
Listen, I ain't gonna lie though. Like with Luka and LeBron, I don't think it's gonna have too much to do with like what they want. Like you know what I mean? Like rolling over. I don't think Anthony Edwards like no pushover.
Right.
But
no, he's not.
But the same way I used to talk when LeBron was by himself.
Mm-hmm.
Like I gotta give Anthony Edwards that same latitude. Like because he pretty much by himself. Like okay. I don't see nobody over there that's going. I'm saying, bro, if your second option is LeBron, like that's a because to me Anthony Edwards. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if your second option is LeBron, like bro, like I mean I don't know, bro. Like can I really hold it against him? Like if he lose, like
no,
I mean
no,
really
nobody will. I don't think.
But Bruce, bro, this is what I need. This is what Transformer. You were preaching today, bro. You were preaching, bro. This is what he's trying to say, bro. Like this is what he's trying to say. He's trying to say. Like, think about it, bro. Y'all say everything LeBron do is calculated. Y'all say that's what y'all say. Like, anytime, because y'all everything that y'all trying to say to put emphasis on it, y'all stepping with that. Everything he do is calculated. So like, what a person is saying is, just last year, LeBron said it was a big 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
So it don't matter what the fuck Rich Paul say. Like, that's what I think that's what Transformer saying. Like it doesn't matter. Like what I'm saying is that 100 Rich Pauls can come out and say that it was the big 3. Nobody's gonna listen to that, bro. Because LeBron,
the man who played in the game, played on the team, is saying
we gotta stop that. So wait.
Why do we have to stop that?
Hold on. Can I respond? Okay, so let me make sure I understand this. Transformer just said that the man who played in the game said it, so that's what makes it correct, right? That's what I want to make sure that
he said it.
It's not about making it correct, bro. Okay. It's not about it making it correct. Like that has nothing to do with nothing. What we're trying to get you to understand is that if Rich Paul, if that's his agenda, it's a dumbass agenda because the man, LeBron, the person whose voice is gonna be the loudest, already said it was a big 3.
And so the reason I played the LeBron clip is because, right, the whole point of that was to demonstrate Rich Paul what he was trying to do. And that was knowingly lie.
No. But some people would say playing that clip kind of takes the fervor out of your point. You see what I'm saying?
Well,
yeah,
go ahead.
Yes, bro. It takes it out because what we're saying is that now listen. If LeBron came out and said that, bro, I get what you're saying, Bruce.
Yeah, I fully get what you're saying,
bro. But for LeBron to say what he said last year, and now Rich Paul comes out of the blue and says what he says, let you know that that's like 9 times out of 10, that is his opinion.
Not only that, young disciple, he didn't just say it last year. He's been saying it for 15 years.
15 years.
He's been saying it.
I'm with y'all on what LeBron said. There's no argument there. I'm good. My problem is this, right? What we're doing, well, not what we're doing, what you guys are doing is ignoring the fact that when Rich Paul speaks, again, as LeBron's agent, his job is to do what he can to paint part of his job to paint LeBron in a good light, right? And so he thought that by going out there and saying, oh, well, it wasn't really a big 3, that makes it look like, okay, now we have reasons for when they failed to get the job done on the big stage, right?
Okay,
So
So Bruce, should we listen to Phil Jackson when he say Jordan is the GOAT? Should we listen to Jordan, trainer when he called Jordan the GOAT? Like you being real loose.
Say that. No,
you being real loose with that, bro.
Well, no.
I like where Young Disciple's going with that. Because we say that Jordan himself didn't call himself the GOAT. We determined that. So Rich Paul saying that that's a big three. I mean, not a big three, but we're determining that it's already a big three. He can't change what we've been saying for 15 years.
That's what I'm saying. That cannot be changed.
Wait. We can't. Okay, so let me do this real quick. Let me say,
Bruce, ask me, was Miami a big three, Bruce?
Was Miami a big three, Young Disciple?
Yes, nigga.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Now, so let me respond real quick to what you said about Phil Jackson and the reason why I say we should believe him. Because one,
no. You're not gonna do this, Bruce. Are you about to, Bruce? Come on, bro. Bruce, are you about to do this, Bruce? Are you about to sit here and preach this sermon about Rich Paul, and then you're gonna on the other side excuse and justify what Phil Jackson did?
Hold on. You asked me a question. I'm about to make this very simple for you.
Come on, Disciple. Come on, Disciple.
You asked this question, right?
Oh my God. Go ahead, Bruce.
This door. Now we're gonna walk through. All right. So here's the reason why Phil Jackson played in the league against Wilt Chamberlain. He played against Oscar Robertson. He played with Willis Reed. He played against Jerry West. He played against all-timers, right? He coached. He coached against Larry Bird. He coached Michael Jordan. He coached against Isaiah Thomas, right?
I get all that. I understand that.
Shaquille O'Neal.
Get to the point. Get to the point, Bruce.
Hold on, bro. You don't tell me get to the point on my job.
What's the punchline, bro?
What I'm saying is this, right? The reason that we can take what Phil Jackson says when he says Michael Jordan is the GOAT is because he has those points of reference to speak to that.
No.
That's
negative.
Because he watched.
Negative. You just said.
He watched.
No. You just said that Rich Paul is LeBron's agent. It's his job to paint him in a good light. You don't think that's Phil Jackson's job?
Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson's not getting paid to do that. He's not getting paid to do that.
He's his coach.
What you're trying to do is you're trying to make it cloudy, bro. And that's not what we're doing. What we're doing.
You asked the question, and the response is very simple because Phil Jackson has the point of reference as a player who played against guys that many people think is the GOAT. He has the point of reference as a
coach. So, Bruce, what about the
people that think he's the GOAT? What are we talking about here?
So what about players that say LeBron is the GOAT?
Oh my goodness.
Do they have a point of reference? Or does that matter?
They don't have the point of reference Phil Jackson has, so no.
No, see, this is what the bullshit starts, bro. How does that change anything?
Hold on. No.
Yeah, how does that change anything?
Hold on. No, because y'all know I'm a history person. So Phil Jackson was playing in the NBA from the late 60s, once again, against Wilt Chamberlain, against Jerry West, against Oscar.
On the bench.
And then he coached all these all-time greats.
On the bench.
I'm saying, so what's the big O?
On the bench.
You act like he was
on the bench. Say that, Bruce. On the bench. That nigga wasn't a starter. That nigga wasn't no superstar. He wasn't playing toe for toe for these niggas. Stop doing that, Bruce.
What, man? You being disingenuous right now. So if
Jackson wasn't like that.
Wait. Phil Jackson if I'm on the bench and I come off the bench and I got to guard, I'm 6 feet tall, so I got to guard Isaiah Thomas.
5 minutes. 5 minutes. You know to go. Got it.
Doesn't give me a reference because I played against this dude, right?
For 5 minutes.
Man, so, man,
no!
5 minutes.
Y'all trying to change the narrative.
No, bro, I'm saying, yo,
that's what LeBron
listen, Bruce. I'm saying your point of reference ain't getting your ass on the court.
Wait, but Phil Jackson did that.
He's watching just as much as we are from the screen.
Phil Jackson literally had to guard Wilt Chamberlain in the NBA Finals. What are we talking about?
History? Phil Jackson ain't going on Wilt Chamberlain. Man, stop it.
Okay.
Bruce, if he was guarding I'm saying if Phil Jackson was guarding Will Chamberlain, nigga, now they'll tell me why they gonna score 100 points and shit.
The most minutes that man ever averaged in a season was 29.
So
come on, man.
That was one season. He's only had 2 seasons he played more than 20 minutes in a game. And I'm supposed to take his word over superstars, other stars, or people that played against LeBron James. But you're using it because he played against other players.
Yeah, but you use it.
No,
yeah, no, you listen to boy, bro.
We good. All right,
you listen to boy, bro. No, Bruce, and this is what I'm saying before I leave. Get off the phone, Bruce. This is what I be talking. This is what I be talking about right here. Like this is what I'm going to tell you, then I'm gone. Like, these same arguments that y'all make for drug, and I listen to all of them. I listen to all y'all. These same arguments, these same things that y'all make in this GOAT debate, or as far as LeBron and MJ go, y'all don't understand, bro. That if we take MJ out of that the seat that he in right now, right, and we put Kobe in it, the person that y'all like to put next to MJ, right? These same arguments that y'all make, that will make LeBron better than Kobe. But then your logic will change.
Whoa.
Real, bro. Stop, bro. Let me finish. Listen to y'all. I'm saying the same arguments and things that y'all say to put MJ over LeBron, right? When y'all list the accomplishments, all that, this, that. If y'all get that same thing with LeBron and didn't change the logic or change the criteria, how wouldn't it?
We do.
I'm really talking to Bruce, bro. I ain't talking about because I'm really talking about Bruce. I'm just saying, because I listened to the arguments that he made. And I'm saying that the arguments that you make, bro, for Jordan, bro, and those same arguments, bro, will apply and will make LeBron better than Kobe. Not like 10 times out of 10.
So,
just think about all the arguments that you make, bro.
So, see, this is how I know you don't listen to me because... And I'll keep it. No. I'll keep it simple.
You don't listen to you.
No,
I listen to you.
I'll keep it very simple. When I talk about the GOAT argument, it's never.
Watch me be this man down shit. Come on.
No, it's never.
I'm listening.
Now you're talking like I can't think for myself. It's all good though. But
I'm listening.
No, it's
no. I ain't saying. Bruce, I'm not saying you can't speak for yourself. No. That's not what I'm saying, Bruce. You get what I'm saying. When I say that man down shit, I'm talking about that going to these different analogies. I was speaking.
I wasn't even going to make an analogy. No, I was saying when I evaluate a player, for me, it's an amalgam of multiple things. It's not just okay, he won all these awards and he won these rings. It's not just he got these stats. It's awards, stats, eye test, right? It's all these influence, all these things come together.
Like what? Tell me right now. Tell me. Tell me your criteria.
So like when
no. Okay.
I'm telling you. So like when it comes to Michael Jordan, and then we gotta let you go till we get to this last topic. But like when it comes to Michael Jordan,
we got one more topic. Damn.
Michael Jordan, one more. See, when it comes to Michael Jordan, the reason I say he's the GOAT, or really any player I evaluate, like
any player, bro. I want your criteria.
I got you. I'm telling you, like I got Hakeem as number 5 all time, right?
Yeah.
The reason why my criteria is the accomplishments, right? Accomplishments, winning, eye test, statistics. Those 4 things together.
You are killing yourself.
That's why I put him.
Y'all listen to what he just said.
And the context.
You just said accomplishments, right?
Yes, accomplishments.
Who has? No, stop. And then I'll let you know. Who has more accomplishments out of LeBron and Kobe?
I would say LeBron.
LeBron. Yeah,
hey, what's criteria? What's the next thing on your list?
Eye test / skill set. And there's no way LeBron got that. He don't
okay. We'll get up to Kobe.
Mm-hmm.
What's the next? You said winning.
Yeah, winning.
Now, is it winning?
More of that.
No, we don't. No. See, that's what I'm saying.
Finals MVPs.
You're counting Kobe's 5 chips and 3 as the second option more than LeBron. More than LeBron's 4 as a main dog?
I'm not even doing that.
No, I'm asking you.
LeBron's 4 on super teams. Yes, I'm counting Kobe's. Yes, because you
that's not a criteria.
You and LeBron so how do you love to talk about Kobe being the second dog, but you ignore the fact
that he was
Bruce.
Out of the West, what Kobe did.
Listen to yourself. You didn't say that. That was criteria.
No, but
you didn't say that.
He brought that up. We talking about winning, right? So
you said that, bro.
I'm
saying the winning.
Man, bro, I'm saying
You said winning. You didn't say how. You didn't say what type of team. You just said winning.
I'm responding to what.
Like I said, bro. Y'all gonna have to. What you're gonna have to keep doing. You're gonna keep having to change as we talk, bro. Because the things that you said, bro. I'm saying the things that you just named, bro. And there's nowhere on God's green earth you're about to tell me that 4 championships. I mean, and 4 finals MVPs don't weigh more than 5 championships and 2 MVPs. Like, you're not gonna tell me that, bro.
Because guess what? Guess what you're forgetting?
God.
Guess what you're forgetting? Like you guys always like to forget. 6 finals.
What about Magic and Kareem? What about Magic and Kareem, bro?
What about Magic and Kareem?
So who do you have? Who do you have higher, Magic or Kareem?
Magic. I have Magic number 2 and Kareem number 3.
Oh my God, that's what I'm saying, bro. Then so accomplishments? You don't have more accomplishments than Kareem, right? He hasn't won more championships than Kareem.
Okay. You know what? Let me cast my hook, and I'm gonna reel us back in because we way off of Rich Paul right now. We ain't even talking about Rich Paul, your disciple.
What you doing, bro?
No.
The rest of the do
The reason I have Magic ahead of Kareem is very simple. Kareem couldn't even get out of the West until Magic got there. That's why.
Okay, I got you. Young disciple. One last statement, and then we'll let you go, brother. One last statement.
Let me ask you one thing, Transformer. And then just hang over, and I'll hear the rest of the show for the thing. Transformer. The reason that he just gave, right? About the reason why he got Magic on Kareem, right? Did he just say that right? So what his criteria was?
No. Slow down. I couldn't hear what you said.
I'm saying the reason he just gave. Remember the criteria he gave before that, the winning and all that we were speaking about at first, right?
Correct.
Now I asked him, who does he have higher, Kareem or Magic? Kareem has won more. Kareem has more accomplishments.
Based off that criteria, Bruce, he has a point.
Like, come on, man. That's all I'm saying.
He has a point based off your criteria.
But right, my criteria. But there's every criteria.
The eye test.
Wait.
Who has the most unstoppable shot in NBA history?
Bro, come on, bro. It shouldn't be but. That's one thing.
Wait. Hold on. Transformer. What I'm trying to say is there is criteria, but is there not sub criteria to all criteria? Is there not context to criteria?
All right, bro.
No, it's context. You're adding stuff, Bruce. You can't do that.
It's crazy.
All right, look. Yeah.
Crazy.
But look,
okay, let me hear what Transformer had to say. Let me just hear what Transformer had to say.
Listen. Kareem had the most unstoppable shot in NBA history. Correct, right or wrong?
I seen Drew stop it. I seen Wilt stop it, but go ahead though.
you named 2 people out of 2, 3, 4, 500 players that he played against.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah. So one of the most unstoppable moves in NBA history. He has 5 titles. He won, and I mean, I know NBA is. We're talking about NBA, but collegiate won, high school won. The man's won at every facet of the game. Period.
Like
right? That's what I'm saying. Like that's how. But it's cool, bro. Like it's cool. All I'm saying is, bro, is have a criteria, bro, where things doesn't have to be tinkered with every person. Your criteria, bro. I'm saying your criteria shouldn't change even when the players change, bro.
No,
it should be one thing.
That's fine, but there's always going to be context. That's the part that we have to. There's always going to be context. But listen, young disciple,
all right, bro.
I appreciate the call.
We appreciate you, young disciple, bro.
All right, peace out, bro. Appreciate it, bro.
No doubt.
Yes, sir. By the way, bro, Phil Jackson started only 113 games in his career. So you not finna use Phil Jackson. He was on the sideline watching with us, bro.
Well, I didn't bring up Phil Jackson, and just because you wanted, Ginobili wasn't a starter. Right?
But he was way more country. He was averaging 30 points a game. 30 minutes a game. That boy was a starter without being called a starter.
Going by what you just, he wasn't a starter.
He can go to another team and be the first guy, the superstar.
First of all, I didn't bring up Phil Jackson. That's one. But since Phil Jackson was brought up, he has the gravitas, and he has been on the floor with some of the greatest. He has been on the sideline coaching against some of the greatest. So if anybody can say anything, he can. Whether he's playing against them or coaching them.
So have we. We've been watching too, Bruce.
Not like, oh my gosh, but we whatever, man, whatever. Man, you LeBron fans are something else. But yo,
no, man, because you said the man watching, like, bro, we watching too. What that man eyes better than mine all of a sudden?
So us watching from here is the same thing, even if you on the bench. That's the same thing. Come on, man, don't.
We get the better view. For real. We get to see the whole floor. You get to get blocked. Referee walking past you, all up in the videos, dancing all in the videos.
All right, look, man.
Let's go ahead with the next topic.
Yeah, please. Let's do that, man. Damn, you a fool. Wait a minute, I seen Dominique in the chat. Amazing how Dominique never calls in.
Where my boo at? What Dominique's boo? Where you at, girl?
Dominique never calls in, but she be having slick stuff to say. But it's all gravy. Maybe one of these days she'll get that heart up and call in. I don't know. All right.